Your Excellencies, leaders of political parties, ladies and gentlemen, friends, on the occasion of the centenary of the CPC, I'm delighted to join you, leaders of 500-plus political parties and organizations from over 160 countries, as well as 10,000 and more representatives thereof, at this cloud event to discuss the important question of working for the people's well-being and the responsibility of political parties. Over the past weeks, more than 600 political parties and organizations from over 170 countries have sent us 1,500-plus congratulatory messages on the CPC's centenary, conveying their goodwill and best wishes. On behalf of the Communist Party of China, I wish to express our heartfelt thanks. A few days ago, we celebrated the CPC's centenary with the Grand Gathering. Over the past 100 years, the CPC has united and led the Chinese people in realizing the great transformation through ceaseless efforts of the Chinese nation from standing up and growing prosperous to becoming strong. Over the past 100 years, the CPC has always connected the future of the Chinese people with that of other peoples and steered the course of China's development in line with the trend of the world and the tide of times to promote common development and prosperity of all countries. The historic achievements made by the CPC and the Chinese people would not have been possible without the generous support of world peoples. Here, on behalf of the CPC and the Chinese people, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to political parties, peoples, and friends of all countries who have cared about, supported, and helped the CPC and the cause of revolution, development, and reform in China. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the world today is undergoing profound transformation unseen in a century, amid which the trend of multipolarity and economic globalization is experiencing a sea change, and countries are becoming increasingly intertwined, interdependent, and interconnected. To cope with COVID-19, restart the economy, and safeguard world stability, the international community has made strenuous efforts. Political parties have also shown a strong sense of responsibility by making active exploration. While, in some places, wars and conflicts are still raging, famine and diseases remain prevalent. Estrangement and confrontation grow even deeper. The call for a better life from all peoples is becoming stronger. Today, humanity is once again at a historic crossroads. It is about hostile confrontation or mutual respect, closeness or openness, decoupling or cooperation, zero-sum game or win-win results. The choice is in our hands, and the responsibility falls on our shoulders. Human race is an integral community, and the planet Earth its homeland. In the face of common challenges, no person or country can tackle alone. The only way out is to work together in harmony with one accord. Political parties, as an important force behind human progress, need to set the right course forward and shoulder their historic responsibility to ensure the people's well-being and human progress. In my view, political parties need to work even harder on the following. First, we need to shoulder the responsibility to steer the course by seizing and shaping the shared future for mankind. People aspire to affluence and contentment. They yearn for fairness and justice. Great times call for grand architecture, and grand architecture calls for great vision. Viewed from the perspective of my country first, the world is a crammed and crowded place full of competition. Viewed from the perspective of a global community with a shared future, the world is a vast and broad place full of cooperation opportunities. We need to heed the voices of the people, follow the trend of the times, and strengthen coordination and cooperation. By doing so, the interests of the people of one country will be kept in line with those of all others, and humanity will move forward towards a shared future. Second, we need to shoulder the responsibility to build consensus by upholding and promoting the common values of humanity. Despite differences among countries in history, culture, institution, and level of development, the people aspire to the common values of humanity for peace, development, equality, justice, democracy, and freedom. With a strong sense of responsibility for the future of mankind, we need to champion the common values of humanity, understand with an open mind the values of different civilizations, and respect other people's explorations to turn values into reality. By doing so, the common values of humanity will be translated into the practice of individual countries to serve the interests of their own people in a concrete and realistic way. Third, we need to shoulder the responsibility to promote development by bringing greater benefits to all peoples in a fairer manner. Development holds the key to the people's well-being. On the road to the well-being of mankind, no country or nation should be left behind. All countries and nations are equally entitled to development opportunities and rise to development. We need to face squarely up to major problems such as wealth gap and development divide, with particular attention given to underdeveloped countries and regions and impoverished people so that hope prevails in every corner of the world. As an ancient Chinese philosopher observed that those who only seek comfort for themselves will ultimately be rejected, and those who sacrifice their own interests for the success of others will be supported. Development is the right of all countries, rather than a privilege of the few. We need to enable all countries to step up development cooperation, which is shared by all. We need to bring greater equality, higher efficiency, and stronger synergy to global development, and jointly oppose the practice of seeking technology blockade, technology divide, and decoupling. I believe that in a final analysis, any political manipulation for the purpose of sabotaging the development of other countries and undercutting the livelihood of other peoples will receive little support and prove to be futile. Fourth, we need to shoulder the responsibility to enhance cooperation by working together to address global risks and challenges. In the face of the ongoing COVID-19, we need to continue with a science-based response approach and advocate solidarity and cooperation so as to close the immunization gap. We must oppose the practice of politicizing the pandemic or labeling the virus. We need to work together to build a global community of health for all. In the face of terrorism and other common enemies of mankind, we need to pursue security and stability through cooperation so as to tighten the security fences together. In the face of the fragile ecological environment, we need to respect Mother Nature, follow her laws, and protect her so as to build a green homeland together. In the face of the severe challenges to human existence and development brought about by climate change, we need to be brave enough to take responsibilities and work as one to find a way of harmonious coexistence between man and nature. Fifth, we need to shoulder the responsibility to improve governance by enhancing our capacity to ensure people's well-being. There are different pathways towards well-being. People of all countries are entitled to choose their own development paths and institutional models. This in itself is what well-being entails. Democracy is the right of all peoples, rather than an exclusive privilege of the few. There are multiple ways and means to realize democracy instead of a single stereotype. The judgment on whether a country is democratic or not should be made by their own people, not by the handful of others. To advance political democracy in a way that suits the national conditions of a country, we need to strengthen exchanges and mutual learning, improve mechanisms for communication, be fully aware of the public opinion, establish well-fledged institutions, and enhance our governance capacity. By doing so, our capacity and efficacy to ensure the people's well-being will be elevated continuously. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, working for the people's well-being has been the original aspiration of the Communist Party of China. With the goal of moderate prosperity in all respects achieved, China has embarked on a new journey towards building a modern socialist country. The Chinese people's sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security have been lifted. To run our own house well, ensure a happy life for the 1.4 billion plus Chinese people, and advance the lofty cause of promoting peace and development of mankind is the unswerving goal of the CPC. The CPC will continue to uphold the people-centered development philosophy, reflect upon the overarching issues of national rejuvenation and human progress in the greater context of time and space, and lead the Chinese people in creating an even better future through ceaseless pursuit and in an enterprising spirit. As history has taught us, we can only embrace the future when we embrace the world, and can only travel safe and sound when we walk together. The CPC stands ready to work with world political parties to live our dreams and act to create a better future. Let us always be builders of world peace, advocates of global development, and guardians of the international order. The CPC will unite and lead the Chinese people to press ahead with the Chinese-style modernization and contribute to humanity's search for ways to modernize. Proceeding from reality in everything it does, the CPC has led the Chinese people in finding, through trial and error, the path of socialism with Chinese characteristics. History and practice have proven and will continue to prove that this is not only the correct path that works, but also the sure path that pays off. We will unswervingly follow this bright path to ensure that development is pursued for both our own good and the benefits of the world. There doesn't exist a one-fits-all path to modernization. The one that suits you well will serve you well. Cutting one's feet to fit the shoes will lead nowhere. The efforts of all countries to independently explore the path to modernization that fits their national conditions should be respected. The CPC is willing to share with world political parties our modernization experience to enrich each other's box tools to modernization, so as to bring well-being to their own people and all other peoples. The CPC will unite and lead the Chinese people to advance reform and open up and contribute to shared development and prosperity of all countries. Currently, economic globalization, despite considerable headwinds, is still moving forward with great impetus. On the whole, the impetus prevails over the headwinds. The trend towards opening up and cooperation remains unchanged and will not change. The CPC is ready to enhance communication with world political parties and steer economic globalization towards greater openness, inclusiveness, balance, and win-win results. We stand ready to work with the international community to improve global connectivity and promote high-quality Belt and Road cooperation so that more countries and peoples share the fruits of development. The CPC will shoulder its responsibilities as a major political party and a major country and contribute to improving the well-being of mankind. Poverty eradication has been a common aspiration of all peoples and an important objective of all political parties. Since the 18th National Congress of the CPC, China's 98.99 million rural residents living below the current poverty line have been lifted out of poverty, achieving the target of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 10 years ahead of schedule. The CPC is willing to contribute more Chinese solutions and Chinese strength to poverty eradication cause worldwide. It will spare no effort to support international cooperation against COVID-19 and enhance the accessibility and affordability of vaccines in developing countries. China will work very hard to deliver its promise of carbon peak and carbon neutrality and contribute more to global fight against climate change. China is going to host the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity, where parties will consult with one another on new strategies for biodiversity and embark on a new journey of global biodiversity governance. The CPC will actively improve global governance and contribute to humanity's joint response to common challenges. Multilateralism has been the core concept of the current international system in order. The better multilateralism is practiced, the faster humanity's common problems will be resolved. International rules should be based on universally recognized norms rather than rules of the few. Cooperation among countries should aim at serving all mankind instead of seeking hegemony through group politics. We should oppose the practice of unilateralism disguised as multilateralism and say no to hegemony and power politics. Upholding the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, China believes that matters concerning all shall be handled by all through consultation. I would like to reiterate that China will always be a member of the developing world and is committed to enhancing their representation and voices in the global governance system. China will never seek hegemony, expansion, or sphere of influence. The CPC will work with world political parties to promote state-to-state coordination and cooperation through party-to-party consultation and better leverage the strength of political parties in global governance. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, our journey ahead will be a long and arduous one, but as long as we press ahead with the sense of perseverance, there will be much to expect. There will be twists and turns down the road, but hopes abound. The CPC stands ready to continue to work with world political parties to stand on the right side of history and the progressive side of mankind. Let's make greater contributions to the building of a community with a shared future for mankind and a better world. Here concludes my remarks. Thank you.